Hey guys, it's Monday, and today I want to talk about suicide and finding your reason. Um, I don't know how long this video is going to go. It's a tough subject for me to talk about. I've talked about it before pretty openly on my social media. I've done speeches about it before, but it's really intimidating for me to talk about it when I'm alone because it's one-on-one. It's me and just my camera. My dog's outside, my cat's right here, but there's nothing for me to shelter my feelings about it with because I don't have something external to focus on. So we're going to try this. We're going to see how it goes. A little bit of my backstory. When I was about 16, I had my first suicide attempt, my only one, thankfully. I was working at a grocery store in Nebraska City. One late night, my friends all went out with a recent ex-girlfriend of mine at the time, and they didn't ask me to come hang out, which is fairly innocuous nowadays, but at the time it really filled me with a lot of anger and resentment towards those friends. And that night I started driving around in my 94 Ford Tempo, and I started to get very angry. I was going through emotional fits of rage. I would vary between crying hysterically and screaming at the steering wheel, and about every emotion in between, until I eventually settled upon the idea that I was going to drive myself off the Missouri River Bridge and ultimately end my life. I came close to driving off a few times. I toyed with the idea of doing it by driving into ditches and driving erratically, and I drove off a few times with the idea that I'd just end up in the hospital. But eventually I settled upon the idea that if I did ultimately do it, my father, who is an firefighter, volunteer firefighter, and emergency rescue paramedic, would ultimately find me, and he'd have to be the one pulling me out. And I knew that my mother, if you've ever met my mother, she has this magnetic laugh. It just draws you in, and it pulls you in. And I knew that if I did that, that would kill the laughter from the world, and I didn't want to take that from the world. So from that night, that was my reason that I wanted to stick around. Later in my 20s, I had a hard time feeling right about what I was doing with my life. So I had a lot of the same thoughts again, and in my mid-20s I found solace in a band called the Wonder Years. They released an album called The Greatest Generation. If you're into pop-punk music, I suggest you check it out. But they sang songs, and the lyrics in them made me feel like I wasn't alone. They made me feel that somebody was connecting me with me, and if he made it through those things, then I could too. So in my mid-20s, that was my reason for wanting to stick around. And within the last few years, I've really started to take my mental health seriously. I have gone to a therapist. I've been on drugs for mental health, for depression. I'm diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and a disorder where any sort of change in my life really affects my mental health. I can't remember what it's called because my mind's a little bit jumbled right now. But through exercise and hard work and figuring out my mind, I've been able to really sort this out within my head. But now, even sometimes when I come home from school, if you don't know, I'm a preschool teacher. I come home from preschool and I had a great day with the kids, or I had a bad day with the kids. It really doesn't seem to matter. Sometimes the thought within my head will still pop up, and it'll say to me, I don't want to be here. And that's not necessarily I want to kill myself, I wish I wasn't alive, but it's just like I just wish I could sleep and just not be here for a long time. Maybe take a big break, I don't know. I don't know what those thoughts mean, but nowadays I know that when I go to school and I work with these kids that I've got, I don't know, hundreds of eyes looking at me every day, and it's very important to me that I don't let them down. Um, as much as I know I mean to the kids in my community, and I know how much I bring to them, they bring more to me than they'll ever know. Because when I'm in that mindset of I don't want to be here anymore, I think about that little girl that goes home in the summertime and cries because she doesn't get to see me. Um, I think about the kids that maybe I'm their only male role model. I think about the kids that maybe I'm their only friend, and the list goes on and on. Maybe I'm just the person there that gives them a laugh. I don't know, whatever I am to them. But that is my reason for staying around, and I can never be thankful enough and grateful enough to have found that reason in my life, to really keep me grounded and keep me around. It gives me purpose. It drives me every day to be a better person, not only for myself but for them, to be a role model for them, and to show them that you can make it through. And that's why I'm making this video. As difficult as it is for me right now to talk about, somebody might need to hear it. And I hope that I can do what the Wonder Years did for me in my mid-20s, that I can do for somebody else. So if you're having those thoughts, you don't have to call one of the suicide hotlines. I know it's tough to reach out, and maybe that is your connection. Maybe you do reach out to a suicide hotline. Maybe you reach out to a friend. Maybe you put on a CD that you connect to. Maybe you listen to the Wonder Years. Maybe you, whatever you need to do to find your reason to stick around, I hope you can find it. I hope you stick around, and I hope you reach out and just know that people are going through the same stuff that you are, and you're not alone. You don't have to be alone in this fight either. There's millions of people with mental health disorders and issues and problems, and it's terrible, but it's the world we live in now. So reach out. There's support groups on Facebook. Reach out to me if you know me at all. Tweet me, message me on Instagram, Facebook me. I don't care. If I have the time, I will make the time. If I will try if somebody says they need help, I will reach out no matter what. Find somebody that's there for you, that wants to listen, that will listen. Whatever you do, just find your reason. I hope this has been helpful to somebody. If you enjoy this, please share it with somebody you know that might need some help. If you know they need help, just be there. Be there for the person. That's really my best advice. Find your reason. Please stick around, because this world needs you more than you'll ever know. There's people out there that need you, that look forward to seeing you every day. That's life from my perspective. I love you.